Be. Okay, welcome to the Rigatoni Capital podcast on Substack. I am here with my good friend and loyal co-host, Golf Winch. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. No complaints.
Nice. Um, so yeah, let's go over today's news. What do you say?
Sure.
Maybe I can share my screen and then we'll let you talk. All right.
Lot happened.
So
We had
you can.
2 weeks break, so there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, Thanksgiving was just a little too crazy. And we had I don't take I don't take these ADP reports that come out too seriously, but it was pretty ugly. We're looking at the biggest manufacturing job losses since COVID and major small business job losses. I don't have that picture up right now. I got a picture up of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's trading at 93,476. And also I want to mention like ISM data looked a little choppy there. Um, and we had definitely the price of gas at the pump has tumbled to $3,
Nice.
the lowest since May 2021. And we had gold, I believe, should have had a little bit of a gain today. Copper's, not inflation adjusted, but it's on a tear here. I don't know if that's the correct chart.
Silver's in beast mode.
What did silver do for the day?
I don't.
Silver is still at 53.
What? I thought it was up to 59.
Well, this is SLV, the
Uh,
ETF.
oh, I was thinking of 1 ounce silver.
Yeah. And gold here is at 4,200. Um, let's see, you're right. Silver is trading between 58 and 59. I was looking at the ETF, SLV. And your boy Ethereum
Yes, another way.
outperformed today, which is funny because I used the Ethereum network today to send somebody USDT Tether.
Okay.
Somebody somebody needed that. And I went on Coinbase to do this because I have USDC on there. That's where my cash balance is. And I was like, wait, she's asking for USDT, so I had to transfer USDC to USDT to then send her.
Wow, that's kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
different
Um,
country.
what's that?
Is it in a different country you had to send it to?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
nice.
All right. So let's see. Let's look at I like to do this. This is UNH seemed to have a nice day. I don't know why. BlackRock had a nice day. Probably because the Bitcoin ETF is doing well again because of Bitcoin. MSTR is bouncing from the lows still. Um, I think that's about it. That's really worth looking at here. And then I sometimes look at this. Circle Internet Group, which we were just talking about, USDC, had a nice day. Um, I know that some of these non-profitable, crappy companies look like they did well. SoftBank seemed to have a little bounce. Hood has been on a tear. And then we had some. Let's see what suffered today. This is just my own little watch list. I noticed Netflix and Spotify are having a downtrend. I know Netflix wants to buy Warner Brothers, and they probably put a big fat bid out to buy that. and I'm assuming they're going to need to borrow money because I don't think their free cash flow is going to cover buying Warner Brothers. So I think that's why Netflix sold off here, and Netflix has been trading well below the 200-day moving average. And I would like to see a lot more pain before I kind of step in here. I don't like the way this chart looks. If you look at it, it looks like it's kind of just dragging and there's
Yeah.
no stop, right?
Yeah.
And Spotify also has news, which I can't remember why it's selling off today, what the narrative is, but it looks like exactly the same as Netflix. And I think Spotify, Netflix, they trade together. As you can see, they look almost identical,
I
right?
saw your portfolio mix, and you had, I think it said 54% in technology.
Yeah.
And
Well, Nvidia and the QQQ are my two top holdings, and that's almost like 40% of my portfolio right there.
what was your Bitcoin exposure? It was ETF and
Yeah,
MS.
probably like 10%. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't remember.
So you
Yeah.
ought to take some 54% and actually get some Bitcoin because all your very,
IBIT, you mean?
what's that?
Instead of IBIT, you mean?
Right, cold storage.
Right. Yeah.
Basically get the real Bitcoin because right now you're 100% overweight or you're 100% invested in all fiat products. You have
That's
no
correct.
fruit. Like you don't have
100%.
gold coins in your shoebox under your bed. You don't have cash under your bed. I'm assuming these things. You may, but don't tell me if you did. We don't need our
I
list.
have
But you also don't have any cold storage Bitcoin.
yeah,
So
this is
except
the
for the
this
$10
is
I sent you.
this is called the Rigatoni Capital portfolio, and it's a fiat portfolio.
Yep. So it might
So I
be
have other
learn about
portfolios.
doing.
Yeah, I have other portfolios that are smaller than this one that have Bitcoin, but it's on the exchanges still. Strike, Robinhood, Coinbase. Because I'm so frightened by being on an exchange, I have it spread out. Yeah, I know I need to self-custody.
Get
Thanks, Dad.
get your coins off exchange because FTX is only a matter of time before we have another one. You know, it started with Mount Gox. I was in on that. I lost $100. That was when I thought it was all a scam. Then I lost my $100. I'm like, see, it was a scam. I knew Bitcoin was nothing. And then it just kept hanging around.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just a suggestion. You can do what you want. You're a grown adult and you're a man, but
Nope, it's on my
we're on the way.
no, it's on my list of things to do. You know, it's a long list, but it's on it. It's on
The
it.
news,
So,
I get my news kind of in a late way, like even financial news, any news mainly. So I'm always in tune to what the Bitcoin price is. But like that crazy drop that just happened, uh, it was like an overnight drop. I could not figure out for the life of me why it dropped. So then, like a day later, or 2 days later, I don't remember, I found out it was another Japanese carry trade deal. You remember
hmm.
we had a big drop a while back due to,
Yep, I sure do.
so that's basically, and now we're right back to where we were, you know, it was like it never happened, but it just, it's evident like how these things happen and Bitcoin is like the leading indicator to like, hey, something's happening, you know, and
Yeah.
that's crazy to me that it's come to that to where it's
Yeah.
the leading financial thing to look at when something's happening. And
Yeah, exactly.
JP Morgan came out with their coin, Vanguard jumped in. Like you kind of wonder if it was a structured takedown of the price so these people could enter the market. Because MSTR was targeted by JP Morgan. I don't know if you heard that news, but
Yeah.
uh, I heard even an anecdotal. piece about a JP Morgan like guy having all kinds of shares of MSTR, and they wouldn't release them. Like he couldn't get his shares to take over to Fidelity. 3 months took him. Like how hard is it to click a button?
Yeah.
So there's shenanigans going on, and I'm just a little pleb, so it doesn't really affect me. But these players with millions or billions of dollars, there's not even 1,000 billionaires in America.
No,
So
I did not.
800 and something, I think, right now.
Okay.
I mean, when you start thinking of billions, it's those are the thousands of millions these people have at
Yeah.
their disposal. And just think of only making 10% on if you had $1 billion and you're making 10% on your money, which those people are probably making way more than that. They're getting 100 million a year in capital, and that's just capital gains. They're getting taxed at less than the working man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you do the math. You spend 10 million, you still got 90 million to play around with. So
Sure.
all your assets are going up in value because they didn't get to be a billionaire by holding it in cash. Nobody holds cash that wants to have actual, you know, capital gains. But I wanted to bring this up because I read this in the airport when I was, this is the book that Saifedean Amos kind of, he wrote the Bitcoin
Bitcoin
Standard.
standard. Yeah.
A lot of the references are from this, so that's where I got this book recommendation. That's where I normally get book recommendations. I don't just randomly select books. I end up reading what people in other books are writing about. But there's
Sure.
a reference in here to the national debt. Now, keep in mind this copyright is 2000. Let me see here. 2001, Ferdinand Lips. So this guy's a Swiss banker, wrote about gold war. So he references the uh
This was copyright 2001.
yeah. So he's talking about the national debt, the US national debt. So he says for thumbs down on the euro forever. That would be an easy verdict if the dollar were a fundamentally sound currency. Far from it. The U.S. current account deficit is approaching 400 billion per annum. The net indebtedness to the rest of the world will easily have surpassed 2,000 billion. He writes in here. Now keep in mind that's 2 trillion. When you have read this, he says, we're at
Yeah.
38 trillion. And that was a short, what, 25, 24 years ago, 25 years ago, Russ? That's
Yeah.
here's here's something that I thought was cool. If your non viewers and listeners are listening to the show, I'm showing off my steak and shake because I was in the region over there in Northwest Indiana. They have a steak and shake, so I went and bought a chocolate shake and a French fry. Now I'm not that impressed with their French fries, even though they use beef tallow, but they're too skinny.
Mhm.
But the shake was the best shake I've had.
And you use this with what app to
So
pay?
here's the thing. I went with the Bull Bitcoin app and tried using it. Didn't work. But I think because they use Liquid and Lightning and it was kind of messy. So then I have other apps. So I went to my Strike app and it worked instantly and flawlessly. But this thing is cool. It has the sats per dollar, has the exchange rate. It says I paid 10,815 sats. When I show my grandkids this receipt, they're going to be pissed because they spent $10,000 on a shake and fry. Hopefully, by then it'll be dollars, but it's got to cross the penny threshold first. But I thought that was cool. The receipt is cool how it, prints out all the things. One day that'll have the block height and everything else on there.
Yeah.
So one
So
more
so
reference.
no Steak and Shake where you live. You had
Yeah, they don't have them in California. And they might
they have
have,
In and Out and all that.
yeah, In and Out. But In and Out talked about should we take Bitcoin, not I want to say last year or sometime early this year, but no movement on it. So one day I'm sure they'll everyone will accept it. I mean, why wouldn't they?
Hmm.
But I have another reference because when you and Mike and George were on the investing or gambling podcast talking about the dollars, it made me think of this. I was reading this book called Mother Tongue by Bill Bryson, and it's kind of like etymology type stuff. That etymology stuff interests me, like where words come from. And it mentioned the dollar. And so I was taken aback, like where the dollar word came from. And it's basically it's a corruption of Joachim Staller, named for a 16th century silver mine in Joachim. I don't speak
Can't
German.
pronounce it. Yeah.
This is rough, but Joachimsthal, Germany. Joachimsthal, Germany, basically. The first recorded use of the word in English was in 1553, spelled Daler, Daler, and
Yep.
the next 2 centuries it was applied by the English to various continental currencies. Its first use in America was not recorded until 1782 when Thomas Jefferson, in notes on a money unit for the United States, plumped for dollar as the name of the national currency on the ground that the Spanish dollar is a known coin and the most familiar of all to the mind of the people. So it was basically used, before it became the national currency, but that's just kind of cool, like where the words come from. Like I always wondered where dollar came from.
Yeah. It says the term buck
Buck,
originated in the American colonial period linked to trading deer skins, buckskins for goods. That makes
yeah,
sense.
$10, double sawbacks. There's all kinds of, but it's funny because Mike and George, they've lived their whole life in the lens of the dollar, and you and I have too, for the most part. But when I was studying the history of money and the history of gold and all that, basically for, you know, decades, I figured out that gold was actually the money. And however many dollars equal an ounce of gold, the dollar was pegged to gold for, and we went through the whole gold standard and all that, but that's where dollars, should have its value. And it's just a measurement of how many ounces or how much gold you can buy is what a dollar to me always was. So I saw the world through the gold lens after I did my research about money. And I didn't, I'm the class of 2021 with Bitcoin, so I didn't figure that out till late. But it's interesting how everything has a dollar value. And that's just how our, minds are gonna work until it transitions. And mine's already a Sats value. I think of things in Satoshis.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yeah, you can measure anything against the dollar, like crude, a barrel of crude oil, gold, silver, any commodity, right?
yeah, it makes it
So
easier to use dollars because everybody's mind is working that way. But like Jack Mahler said in his last podcast, did you hear that one? The last one?
no,
Great. He's talking about how this bull market, yeah, it looks to a lot of people like the bull market's done in Bitcoin, but if you measure it in gold, we we haven't even hit all-time highs because gold, I mean, look at gold. There's a signal there. If you're not paying attention, gold is at 4,200. I mean, that's a monumental run from, I mean, I can remember it was just chilling in the 200,
Yeah.
500 range when I was young, and then sat under 2000 forever. Now it's doubled from 2000. I sold my only gold coin I had for $3,200. So I was 1,000, and that wasn't too long ago. I think it was this year, maybe it may
Yeah.
be here, but I thought it was this year, early this year. Anyway, it's just, and the silver, geez, the silver has gone nuts.
Yep. Yep.
So I don't,
Um, I see that inflation adjusted, gold's hitting all-time highs. Silver is not inflation adjusted. Um, if that matters or not, I don't think so. I think you make where you're making crazy returns if you bought silver or if you're in silver. Do you own silver?
I used to. I had some, and I put everything. That's when I sold all my silver to go into Bitcoin, 2021, when the GameStop thing happened.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it because there was a line out the door of this coin shop, and one of the guys said, "Did you buy some silver?" He's like asking me. He was kind of excited. I go, "No, I actually sold all mine to buy Bitcoin because everyone was buying silver." It's like it's a good time to sell my silver. But yeah, I mean, that was uh March of 2021, roughly, maybe April. But yeah, that was seems like a long time ago.
Sure. Do you have anything you're selling stock wise? I know you were selling like covered calls or something in MSTR.
I did. I sold covered calls, strike price 215. I just sold, and they expired this Friday, but I just don't want to get called away because I feel like the Mister is poised for a short squeeze because I feel like they're just manipulating it at this point. It's just down so low. I also had another thing to talk about. Have you ever heard of Trace Meyer?
No.
Okay, this guy is an old OG, super early Bitcoiner who came up with the Meyer multiple. All it is, it's a very easy, basic ratio where you basically take the 200-day moving average of Bitcoin and, or no, I'm sorry, you take the price of Bitcoin and you divide it by the 200-day moving average of Bitcoin. And when anytime this ratio gets down to like zero point 0.8, it is like flashing by, like buy. And
Sure.
anytime it's under, I think two even, it's a good, it's good. But it's an interesting measurement because the longer Bitcoin like sits at a price, the more it's poised to go up. I mean, it's going up indefinitely or in perpetuity because the dollar is programmed to be debased. So it's not like, I mean, it's just math. You have a finite currency and you have a currency that's being printed into oblivion. All currencies fail because they're just diluted, and we're not going to stop diluting. They're going to keep paying the people in government. Government shutdown didn't shut down any government. It was just a mirage to, oh, we're not going to pay the people that work at the national parks and the traffic control. It's just to panic the people so you can get the spending bill passed.
Right.
They're, it's not like they stopped paying Congress,
Right.
so the government only gets bigger and they have to keep paying the people in government. And the people that are being paid by whether it's subcontractors of government, it seems to only go up in people making money from government employment. So I don't see them able to stop printing money. And they just December 1st, the whole quantitative tightening they stopped that. So that's basically like reverse engineering quantitative easing. So the
Yeah,
floodgate faucets are back. At least they turned them on a little bit. So we'll see where it goes from here. But I think
sure.
Trump's on a bent to get the faucets roaring.
Yeah, yeah, and percent, you know?
Well, Basent, I think he's in between a rock and a hard place because I think he understands Bitcoin a little bit more than the average person. And if Bitcoin just keeps going up, everyone's going to wake up to this little, smoke and mirrors game they got going on that they've been running for, the better part of a century since at least 1933.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think his idea is get the stable coin up and running, right?
yeah,
To get a larger, impactful uh 10-year buyer.
yeah,
No, I guess they buy short-term treasuries like 6 months. But you have another treasury buyer, and then therefore people that are on these apps, maybe institutions or whatever, banks, maybe they're gonna buy Bitcoin eventually, right?
yeah. Is that dog barking real loud? I
Doesn't
can
bother me.
shut this door real quick.
It doesn't bother me. Is it a small dog?
Yeah, it's a corgi. He's my buddy, the Ollie the corgi.
Nice.
Great, but he's loud. He's got that piercing bark, so I don't want. I don't want. He's saying hello to the neighbor. They just yell at each other.
Sure. So when more stablecoin adoption, when you see the chart going from bottom left to upper right, they claim like and Bitcoin follows. The Bitcoin adoption also. Well, actually, I think they compare it to the Bitcoin price going up. So more stablecoin adoption, therefore Bitcoin price goes up, and there's some kind of correlation there. And what is the correlation? I don't know because if you're telling me it's people are going to be on these apps like Coinbase and they're using USDT or USDC, and it's easy for them just to stumble into Bitcoin. Is that what I understand? Is that they want something that once they realize it's pegged to the dollar, they're like, oh, I'm getting hit with inflation. I might as well save in Bitcoin here also while I'm on this app. Is that
Yeah,
the
I,
only thing? It's that simple?
I think it's that simple. Like as soon as like you did that with the sending the money.
Yeah.
About how when you do that, say you're already a kind of a Bitcoiner, but if you did that and you didn't really understand Bitcoin, it makes you curious. So then you start thinking, wow, if I could do that. Well, it's just that simple with Bitcoin. Remember when I sent you $10 on the just on an app? Sent you. It's really just you can send Bitcoin anywhere in the world at any time, and you're not being debased. So we're basically the top currency, and we're able to, you know, debase our currency and send that debasement all the way through the world because there's so many other countries that use our dollar. And so we're not the only, we're the beneficiaries of that as far as our, dollar is, where other countries they can't do that. So and it holds its value better than all these other crappy currencies. So they want to peg, they would rather have USDT or Tether or USDC. It doesn't matter because it represents the dollar and that holds its value better than the, you know, Argentinian peso, the Vietnamese dong, the Venezuelan bolivar. I can go on and on and on. There's 136 currencies, and the majority of them are horrible. They're debased like staggering amounts that we would never stand for in America. But as soon as it clicks to the lay person, like, oh, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. There's only 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis. They can't print anymore. Well, I'll take those. Why would I want US dollars? They're going down in value. I can buy more gold every year if you zoom out, in 8 years, two epochs, you're guaranteed to be able to buy more gold with your Satoshis than any currency in existence. And it's not my guarantee, it's math. It doesn't have anything to do with, there's more people learning about Bitcoin. There's schools. Now I think within the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's a master's degree in Bitcoin online you can get. I don't
Really?
know what university is offering it, but
Michael
now
Saylor's the professor, right?
no, no, he isn't, but he probably could run a class. He is, yeah. I mean, the guy's a rocket
Well,
scientist.
yeah. No, apparently I sent this USDT to like an Ethereum address, and I think that if anything, it made me a little more interested in Ethereum, knowing that I'm paying a gas fee.
Yep.
But of course, I'm not a fan of Ethereum, and I already know that I choose my fighter with a Bitcoin as a store of value. But I don't know. With all this tokenization, is Ethereum going to? That's not enough of a bull case for me to be to own a tokenization, not a token, a cryptocurrency that just makes money on gas fees. Like that to me is just a utility. It's not a store of value, and to me, it's not very interesting.
Well, like George was saying, he kind of made me chuckle in a way because he was talking about tokenization and and that just doesn't make sense to me. Like tokenizing Bitcoin is made to be a better money. It's just a better money. It's just like when you're in prison and you have mackerels and soups and stamps. Something's gonna emerge as the best currency because of the value it holds, because of why it holds it. Gold is losing now. It lost to fiat currency because you can simply transport paper money easier than gold. And then the paper money lost to credit cards because it's easier to carry, these little plastic cards with this magnetic strip that transfers value at the speed of light, and you can't get robbed. You can't, they can't steal your cash out of your pocket. They can steal your debit card, but you can shut the debit card off. So all these forms of money are battling, and it's just going to be a war. And basically, Ethereum is right there in the mix, but it's unlimited. They can just keep making more of it. So it's not going to hold its value next to Bitcoin.
Yeah, do you ever get concerned about tokenizing gold where it's divisible and I can send you $10 worth of gold over Robinhood app or something? I mean, that kind of competes with Bitcoin, doesn't it?
Yeah, to a degree, but it doesn't worry me at all because uh,
It's
it's
still the fundamentals don't change just because you can tokenize it.
right. It's the gold. Uh, it's basically a physical thing, and I see the uh, gold beats Bitcoin in a way that it has intrinsic value and it's physical. But that's also why it's worse than Bitcoin because I can't send it to Hong Kong in the form of, you know, $20,000 worth without packaging it up, worrying about it being stolen on the way there. I can do that instantly with Bitcoin. I can do it within 10 minutes to a friend that's over in Hong Kong, lost all of his identification, everything. He was able to get a phone from a friend, download an app, and now I got 20 grand worth of Bitcoin on the way, and now he can get everything back by just going and buying it. I
Yeah,
can't.
I think your argument comes down to again a self-custody um, point of view because if gold is tokenized and I send you $10 worth of tokenized gold, you can't custody, you can't self-custody $10 worth of
Right.
gold. So, yeah, that's a great point. I didn't think of that.
let's define tokenizing first of all, because
Yeah.
it's this like vague, ubiquitous, like
I'm going to tokenize my house. So you can
yeah, like
buy a portion of my house. If you
that's
want to invest in it, you can.
so you got to define the terms in a way that eventually it just doesn't make sense.
I think
Like,
it makes sense. Rigatoni's compound. Here's the token. You know it's going to go up in value because I'm in a nice area, right? I mean, I think that makes sense in that regards.
well, it makes sense in a way that,
I still
to
think Bitcoin's a better form of money, but tokenizing something like real estate seems like a pretty innovative idea.
so what do you mean by that? Like, say, um, for instance,
You
you,
literally can tokenize anything you want.
what do you mean by tokenizing it though? You're just selling
You can
shares?
take a stake. You can take a stake. Yeah, correct. You can take a stake in anything.
Yeah, which that's great for the person selling the stuff, but is the buyer really going to benefit that much? Maybe if he
Yeah.
can sell it to the next guy who takes it. And
Yeah,
that's
no,
the
absolutely. Yeah.
argument for Bitcoin bears. They say, well, it's just you're buying it until the next sucker comes along to buy it from you. It's because they think in dollars and their mind works in these dollar bills where fiat-minded people and it's we've all been indoctrinated since kindergarten to believe this illusion. It's an illusion that fiat is always going to be here, the dollar is always going to be here, we're always going to be the top country, and we are the imperial, tough guys on the block, and this is the way it's always going to be. Well, it's not. It's changing as we speak, and losing faith in our government is one of the first and worst things that can happen to the currency because basically our currency is backed by the full faith and credit of the US government. And you can see what our government's doing right now. We got the Pedophile Protection Network, formerly known as the FBI. They're helping suppress the Epstein files. They got like less than 30 days until they got to finish up on their redactions and everything. So it's just a big game of deception. And the balls are in the air nonstop with fiat.
Yeah, I was gonna say this reminds me of the social media when someone posts like the stealth bombers or any like like a Lockheed Martin and how cool it is and they're flying and
Yeah.
they're like the US dollar isn't backed by anything. That's their I was like, so my comment to somebody random was like so you're saying we're backed by war?
Yeah.
Like so the US
Proof
dollar
of
is just
war.
backed by war?
Proof of war. That's basically, we are the toughest nation right now. And, you know, that's what holds our currency in on the top of the pyramid. We are the
Yeah, because
top.
we can print money.
Yeah.
That's why we got away with printing so much money to invest in defense manufacturers and defense, right? Weapons.
Yeah.
So whoever has the biggest printer can be the strongest military power. Is that correct?
Correct. Until it ethically and morally is so toxic that men will not go and fight for your cause. And that is not going to happen anytime soon because the 18-year-olds that they're pumping out of these high schools, government high schools, they're so broke, they're going into the military because they get free room and board. All they got to do is yes, sir, no, sir, do what you're told, and they get paid. It's fiat, but a lot of them are waking up to Bitcoin. The Bitcoin veterans, every morning I'm on there with these either in the military or out of the military that served, on all these forever wars because let's face it, if we're not at war, what are we doing? Finding the next war we're going to get into. I mean, Venezuela is not getting tyrannized. I saw I just got thrown off topic, but I saw a little me it wasn't a meme, but a little graphic or whatever of how all the currencies basically around are like the Rothschilds are involved with all of them. And Venezuela, Syria, and Iran, there's only like 10 that don't have them involved. And so you're see the ones that don't have them involved are having all the problems. So there's just always going to be a regime change that needs to take place somewhere, whether it be Venezuela, Ukraine, Afghanistan, Iraq, Korea, Vietnam. I mean, you go all the way back to the world wars. War's a racket. Smedley,
Hmm.
Smedley Butler, he has a book. I think I haven't read it, but it's definitely a racket.
Sure. All right. Well, that was a good conversation. Is there anything else you would like to add?
I I think you got to just stay humble and stack sats. And every time Bitcoin takes a dip like that, I mean, we went down to like 80.
Yeah.
It's tough, but you are getting cheap Satoshis if you're smart about it. Like, because life goes on, we all work, do our thing, raise a family, and you know, the
Yeah.
day is the grind. And if you're not making more than you're spending, then you're going backwards. Doesn't matter if it's in dollars or Bitcoin. You basically have to provide a good or service that makes people want to pay you. I call them certificates of appreciation. And eventually you got to store them somewhere. If you're making more than you're spending, might as well put them
Sure.
in hard currency.
Yeah. I guess we don't predict Bitcoin's price. I mean, do you think we could drop again to 80K or because I mean that's what Bagholder says we might do.
Yeah,
Why wouldn't we?
I like to predict price.
Yeah.
I
What do
can
you
predict
think?
all day long, but I'm never right.
You think we're gonna test the lows?
I don't think
80K?
I think we're going up from here, but I'm an eternal optimist, and I believe in our government destroying our dollar at a rapid pace, especially once they get Jerome Powell out of there, the floodgates are going to open.
Yeah, I think the floodgates are gonna open in January because they're kind of gonna do they're gonna have to inject a bit amount of a liquidity, and I think they already started.
I was
So
surprised. Let me put it this way. I was surprised we went under 100. I thought we were going way up. So if we get back into the 60s or 70s, just stack like you've never stacked before because it's a blessing if it
yeah,
gets there. It won't
yeah,
stay there long. We saw that bounce from the 80s just recently, and there's no news like good news about Bitcoin. The bears
yeah.
are full force.
Sure. Well, what I think is also a potential outcome is that we hit 160 within like a week. I still think that something like that's going to occur.
Oh yeah,
I don't know like why it will. I don't know if it's going to be like a country buying or something or sovereign wealth fund buying or whatever it is, but I think all of a sudden it's going to go like that, and people are going to be caught really off guard.
God candles they call that, and I do believe that will happen. I don't know when, but I do believe there will be a time in the future where it will just go up every day, and people will be like, "Why is it going up?" It's not. The dollar's going down. You're looking at it wrong, buddy. It's not going up. One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. It's 100 million sats. It'll always be that. But the dollar value will fluctuate. And basically, you're looking at the dollar getting stronger when Bitcoin goes down. So it's not a bad thing because you're holding a lot of dollars. Most
Yeah.
people hold dollars. So
In the Rigatoni Capital portfolio.
yeah, I mean.
I mean, I got Berkshire Hathaway, I got Apple. I mean, we got tons of cash.
Those don't cash out to Bitcoin. You got to cash out the fiat, then transfer it to Bitcoin. So always be aware of that when your mind shifts to Bitcoin. You want the actual Satoshis in cold storage.
Yeah. And where can people find you?
I'm over at
What's your
Twitter,
home address? Just
Golf
kidding.
Win. Oh, yeah, you wouldn't want to wrench attack me because I'm okay with death. It's the acquittal of all responsibility. So you may die
Good
coming
for you.
after me, Bitcoin. Wrench attacks don't work on me. I'm a little bit loopy sometimes. So
Yeah. All right. So you're not going to tell us where you can find us online. You're on Substack. You don't care if people come to your Substack, or you don't
yeah, no,
really
you can find me anywhere. Golf Winch is basically my handle. I think I'm Golf Winch on Substack too. But Golf
think you
Winch.
are. I think no, no. Aren't you Bitcoin for president?
Oh, I might be. Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
newer
Yeah.
of BFP. They call me on veteran space. Oh, they had Kiani Rodriguez on the Bitcoin veteran space today. Just real quick before we end, and this dude got put in prison. He hasn't checked in yet, but he got 5 years for making Samurai Wallet, which is just code, kind of like Ross Ulbricht's story, but he uh he and I think is William or Bill Hill or Will. I forgot the other guy's name, but he's 37. The other guy's 67. Super sad story. If you can sign the petition for the pardon, it's on my Twitter page, but this guy should not be put in prison. All he did,
We'll put it in the blog post.
yeah, he told his whole story, and there's a recording of it too, so you could hear the story go on Bitcoin Veterans their little handle on X, and they always post the recordings. But it's very interesting story, and I'm about to uh, cut a deal with the government because they don't play fair. These
Yeah.
people, the Department of Justice is now the Department of Tyranny, and it shows. This guy got 5 years for writing code. That's all he
Hmm.
did. He didn't
Hmm.
launder money. He never took custody of anyone's Bitcoin. He designed a privacy app so people could hide, people that are making curtains so you don't have to, show yourself to the world. You shouldn't put people in jail for the tools they build. It's just messed up. I feel bad for the guy. And yeah, if anyone listening to this could sign the petition to help him get pardoned, it would be good.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the blog post, okay?
All right, man.
All right, I will probably let's try to do this next week.
Yeah.
All
All right.
right, David. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Take care.
Oh, I don't know how to stop this. There we go. Bye.